Welcome to the Inquiring Cat Does Travel and a quick catch up here. What date are we? 16th of April, 2025. So we did our cruise on the Azamara journey from Buenos Aires all the way up to Barbados, as you will see in my last episode from the Inquiring Cat Does Travel. And one of the things I mentioned in that was that I had got bronchitis along with many other people on the ship. Well, I went insured with All Clear Travel Insurance, made my claim, and they have paid up without asking any questions just immediately for the full cost of my medical treatment from the ship's doctor for all the antibiotics he gave me. So that's great news. Well done, All Clear. Great insurance policy that's turned out to be. So we flew back to London, emptied the suitcase, threw it in the washing machine, reloaded it, and went down to Tenerife. And I haven't broadcast from Tenerife, but here's a quick catch up on what happened. So the skies here in the UK were fabulous for 2 weeks of sunshine. We had grey skies and rain in Tenerife, and at the end of the broadcast here you'll see an example of how wet it was. But we didn't let that dampen our spirits too much. We arrived and went into the town square of a village called Guimar, which is about 20 minutes south from the capital, Santa Cruz. Whilst it's not really a particularly touristy village, it does have a great tourist attraction, which are the pyramids. Yes, pyramids, but not like that. They're like South American ones, which in itself is a mystery. How come these prehistoric people managed to create pyramids lined up with the equinox when they'd never been to South America and vice versa? But it was, in fact, it was, what's his name? Thor Heyerdahl, who did the Kon-Tiki exhibition in the Reed boat across the Atlantic many years ago, and who owns some big ferry company. He bought a house in the village of Guimar, and that included these pyramids on the land, and he's had it all restored. And it's well worth a visit. It's quite interesting. There are other things, of course, to see and do on Tenerife, like the Loro Park with the lovely parrots, a wonderful botanical garden, and go up to La Laguna, which is a beautiful city. It's the old university capital of Tenerife, and it's the most beautiful town on the island without doubt. Although Lorotava is quite nice as well, I have to say. Anyway, we had our 2 weeks in Tenerife, and it's been very nice to catch up with family and friends before returning here to the UK to plan the next trip. Well, the next trip is going to be actually next week. I am taking one of my classic cars down to Nancy in France with a whole bunch of pals congregating from all over Europe, which is going to be absolutely lovely. And talking of classic cars, I've just managed to sell my Bentley, which is great news. I advertised it on carandclassic.com, and it sold within 24 hours to a guy in Australia. How amazing. The power of the internet. So that's just being dealt with at the moment, which probably means I'll go out and buy something else. But anyway, we'll take one of the old Jags down to Nancy, which is going to be great fun. So next broadcast will be from France. Until we see you then, au revoir, mes chers, a bon voyage. Pack some trips yourself. Oh, one other thing to say. I had to go to a funeral yesterday, very sadly, from a very dear pal. And during the eulogy, it was pointed out that he had enjoyed travel a lot during his retirement. And perhaps most of all, despite going to exotic places like Venice and Washington and New York, was a camper van trip he did round the north of England and Scotland some years ago. You know, the excitement of travel doesn't have to be abroad. It can be right here at home on our own doorstep. And in fact, not long after I get back from Nancy, we will be doing a trip down to the West Country and catching up with friends down there. So that's all for now. See you soon. Au revoir. Bye-bye. And this being Spain, what do we do on market day when it's sun shining? You've done your shopping and you come and sit in the square and have a nice coffee or a beer or a glass of vino with your friends. And you do that repeatedly throughout the day. It's rather marvellous, really.